the teens, the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the millennials,
and the 10s,
and the teens.
Cheese.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Can you say happy birthday,
Look at
Susie?
this balloon.
Whoa! What do they say?
Susan has this incredible family that is here with her to celebrate her 100th birthday. There is no greater way to build generous hearts and build Jewish community than being with family.
Shechechianu, v'kiyamanu, v'higianu, basman hazeh.
Amen.
Mazel tov, simin tov, simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov, simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov, yeilanu.
Pachi, go ahead, Bubby. Pachi, pachi, kichala. How about Oifen Propachuk? That was another song she would always sing to her grandchildren. Oifen
Propachuk, Retter Firewall, ohne Stubes Haus, und der Rebellen deine Kinder lacht, dem alle Face. Und der Rebellen deine Kinder lacht, dem alle Face.
Baltimore. Someone gave them a bottle of crown oil as a housewarming present. My parents aren't big drinkers. They were saving it for a special occasion. Is that? They have that bottle. The seal is not broken.
What year? What year was that?
I think this would be an appropriate time. The seal says.
Wow.
1957.
Oh, that's funny.
So I don't know any good anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're going to give it a
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday to you.
Can you see all the people? You know how old you are? Are you 50? 60? 70?
70's good. 70's good.
You don't look a day over 70.
70's good.
Today, mazel tov. Mazel tov.
I think she lasts until 100 because she thinks she's 70.
No, I'm not.
Just want to wish our special Aunt Susie a wonderful 100th birthday. Mazel tov. Happy birthday, Auntie Susie.
Okay, I'll just start this off with, when I was thinking about coming to this event, I was thinking about Aunt Susie, and it's remarkable being 100 years old, but the thing I was thinking about was that Susie is one of a very small percentage of people that I've ever met on this earth that nobody could possibly have anything ever negative to say about her, ever. And there's very few people like that, including myself. Plenty of people could say plenty of negative things about me. And the other thing I remember is the Seders, where she seemed to have 100% of the work to do it and make them happen. And of course, what a lot of people say, the memory of the Seders is also my Uncle Phil falling asleep well before the end of the Seders.
Hi, I have this memory of cousin Susie, my mother's first cousin, and my mother always taught me, like, you don't eat in a Shiva house. You just go home and eat, and you just at the Shiva house to comfort the mourners. And we were at a cousin's Shiva house for morning davening, and after davening, there was like this, breakfast brunch spread, and I was standing near the front door with cousin Susie, and I'm saying like, well, I'm not going to eat it. I live around the corner. I can go home for breakfast. And she just looked at me and said, "Your mother taught you well." And I just felt like this whole family tradition that came down through like different branches, and I sort of felt reinforced that it was the right thing to do because everybody, at least half the family learned it. So it was really cool. And that's what I remember of cousin Susie.
Okay, I'm Arlene, and Aunt Susie's my aunt. I didn't have the privilege of seeing her too often, but when my parents went to Canada every year, I remember her cheerful personality and her kind ways, and even as a child that stuck with me. Then when I was grown in Orlando, I had some family problems, but anytime that Uncle Sam and Aunt Susie came to Orlando, they made it their business to come and see us, and they were very respectful to my husband and to my children, and we all had a very nice time, and I have very lovely memories of those visits. Okay.
Hi, I'm Linda Gottlieb, and I am Susie's, I think, second cousin. Second cousin. And I came because I wanted to honor Susie because she was very kind and generous to me and my family. In the summers, when our children were young, we would go visit her for about 10 days. And now that we're all getting older, we realize that it really was an effort on her part, and no one should take her for granted because she was a pretty special lady. Thanks.
So my Bubby has been in my life for as long as Becca has been in my life, which has probably been since I was in 3rd grade. And I have photos of Bubby back to us in MG when we were in 5th grade, dressing up in the Renaissance costumes. And I, in the last couple of years, have been visiting Bubby when she's in her nursing home, and she is so nice. She is genuinely the nicest person, even with no memory. She never says a mean thing. She's always happy. She always appreciates the positive things. She's always having a nice day and will compliment me over and over again. And she emphasizes family. She asks me over and over again whenever I visit her, even now, is your family close? Do you see them? Do you have friends? Do you have a lot of fun? Do you still talk to your friends? You look beautiful. And those are the important things in life. And I think it's so special that Bubby has been in my life for 15 years or 20 or more, and hopefully more to come.
I want to wish Aunt Susie the best, happiest 100th anniversary. I have such fond memories of her, especially around Passover. For the last 25 years of my life, I spent the whole week with her, getting ready for Passover, burning the chametz, cleaning out the refrigerator, doing everybody's hair, and helping to put all the Passover food in the basement, and going to the movies to see The Shaggy Dog with Eddie while I slept in the basement and carried on like a lunatic, and I had the best time of my life. And I love you so much, and I love you for visiting my mother when she was in the hospital, because that was so sweet and lovely, and you're one of the most incredible women I've ever known in my entire life. And I'm so glad to be here today to celebrate this special day. Love, Rana.
So, I was always very close to Susie because she was my mother's sister, and our families were really, really close. And so I remember spending a lot of Passovers with them at their place, and they're spending a lot of Passovers at our place. And I remember one particular thing, at one of the Passovers at our place, my sisters and I, you have hard-boiled eggs for Passover, and we put them in the fridge, and my sisters and I switched the hard-boiled eggs with the non-boiled eggs, and Susie went to crack one of the hard-boiled eggs, and Well, yeah, you can imagine what happened. So that was one of my fond memories of Passovers with Susie and family. And I also remembered when my mother died, she was really, really supportive.
You can tell the story. Show me the story to say.
How do I say that?
Just say that you remember the memory of Suzanne, how Suzanne helped you.
Yeah, my name is Sharmila and I came from India, newly married. I didn't have except brand new husband. When I met Suzanne, I felt like my family. She was a great support to me. She was a great advisor. I felt like my mom here. And she helped me with anything, everything. I can talk to her and I know it won't go out anywhere. And one time I was so scared for driving. I only drive locally, but I had no courage to drive far distance. I needed my mom to take to the doctor. It was Whiting, Tom's River, and it's one-way driving. And Suzanne said, "What's the big thing? You are young. I will come with you. I will sit next to you. We will take your mom to the doctor." So that was unbelievable for me. She gave me the courage, she gave me hope, she gave me so many things in my life. I will never forget. I become very emotional. So she is great to me. I love her. I wish her we can celebrate 150 years.
Okay, so I do remember, of course, that when we were young, Ethel and I, not so much Shayna, my mother was always working, and so Susie was really helping out a lot, and she especially used to make clothes for me and for Ethel. And we have some pictures of some lovely outfits that she made, and I have real fond memories of a certain kind of pinafore that we each had, like maybe about 5 of them, with different floral prints on them. And I remember, I loved the one that was kind of like creamy with cherries on it, my favorite. And then the next favorite one was a blue one with strawberry. They're very nice. You see a theme here? They were all delicious. Anyway, they were very nice. So that, she also made pajamas for us. And I believe it was her who made our little ballet outfits when Ethel and I were taking ballet in school for our recital. And I remember as well she used to knit, and I can recall in, gosh, I think it was in Ottawa, up at the top of the stairs, there was her sewing machine. And I could just picture her being at the sewing machine and sewing stuff for us. Also, I'm sure for your family too, but of course I just remember our stuff. Another more recent memory is that when I would go and spend time in Florida, when she was living in Florida, and she was already not a youngster. I think she was already in her 80s, and she wouldn't let me do anything. I kept wanting like to cook or to clean or to do something. She wouldn't let me do a thing, and she would actually cook. She made sweet and sour meatballs, delicious, and she just did everything.
So Susan was my mother-in-law, is my mother-in-law, and she lived in my home for many years, maybe 8 years or something. And I used to always use her to as a sounding board for my Jewish studies, and we would sit and we would study Torah together. And her education, I mean, I don't think that she was really tremendously well educated, but her intuition about the Torah portion and Jewish things was very deep. I really had the feeling like her sense of right and wrong was really well developed, and like there's something in Judaism about wanting to be a good person and trying to do the right thing, and that really resonated with her when we would study Torah together. She would always affirm the sense of right and wrong that comes in when you study the Torah. So And I appreciated having her as a study partner because I would be here in the house with her alone or whatever, and I'd want to talk about this week's Torah portion, and she was my chavruta. And I noticed as her mental faculties declined, the interactions, I could see over time how the interactions changed because we did this for a long time, over several years. And so I could see that there was a point where I couldn't do it with her anymore, and that was sad. But for many years, she was a good study partner for me.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Susan. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
So one of my really fond memories of Susie is when I was graduating, quote, quote, from grade 6, and we were going to have a graduation party, and I needed to get a dress. But my mother, because she was working all the time, couldn't go with me to get a dress. And I remember Susie came with me to get a dress. At that time, grade 6, I guess I was about 12, but I wasn't yet wearing a bra. And I remember like going with her into the dressing room to try on things and being very, of course at that age, very embarrassed because I would have to take off my clothes to put on the, put on the dresses and all this stuff. And she said something to me which I realized didn't make grammatical sense, but it made sense. I knew what she meant. She said, "Don't worry about it. We're not modest here," is what she said. And somehow or other, that just made me feel very comfortable, and I was able to try on the dresses, and I ended up getting a very pretty dress for my grade 6 graduation.
So I was talking about Susie being very supportive to me after my mother died. And it was about 2 years or so after my mother died, and I was visiting Susie's house. I believe it was probably in New Jersey, and she was benching Friday candles, and I all of a sudden started crying. And she was really, I was sort of surprised. I mean, it was a few years after my mother died, so that it didn't make any sense to me. And I remember her sort of being very sympathetic and saying, that happens. Like if there's something that you associate with a certain person, and even if you think that you have everything under control and everything's okay, it can come rushing back to you, and that's okay, and that it just means it'll get better over time. But she made me feel a lot better, and I was really grateful for that because it really helped a lot.
So I was fortunate enough to live with Bubby for like half of my life. So I have a lot of stories, so I'll just go through a few of them really quickly. So one of them is that when I was really little, she got me and my sister some gifts. I actually have it right here. This is her room that she stayed in when she lived with us. So she got my sister and I these gifts, and they were these like little porcelain ballerinas. And I wanted the pink one. There was another one that had a white dress. And I cried. I was pretty young. I was making a fuss about it. And she said to me, "The pink one is a worse dancer because her foot is propped up on this rock. The other one, the white one, didn't have a rock right here." And that I thought that was perfectly good reasoning. And then I stopped making a fuss and I accepted my little figurine. The other story is that when I was 17, I had just gotten my license and I was taking her out for a drive, and I was feeling really, angsty as a teenager. So I said to her, "Oh, Bubby, do you know how old I am? 17. I just turned 17. Isn't that so old?" And she, with her wit, she went, "Oh, so old, 17. Oh my goodness." And it really put it in perspective, and it made me realize that 17 wasn't actually that old when compared to her age then, which was, 90 something, 94. And then the last thing I wanted to share is that even as she was losing her memory and she was starting to have trouble, she still had an incredible sense of humor. So she was very responsive to joking around, and it was just wonderful. So one thing that I would do is I would say, like, Bubby, like, I was gonna go out and get some chocolate ice cream, but I know you don't like chocolate, which she loves chocolate. And she would go, oh no, I don't like chocolate, no. And then I would say, so you don't want to have any ice cream? And she would be like, oh no. And then she would just be smiling, and then she would know that we were gonna go out and get ice cream. And when we got ice cream, we would make sure to get ice cream with nuts because she loved crunchy food.
It's hard to sum up Mom in 2 minutes. I don't know what to say other than I was lucky to have her as my mom. And she's so talented and had a good sense of humor, and I don't know. This is impossible. I'm going to miss her a lot, even though she's sort of fading away. It was a good ride. So I guess this birthday was a ritual processing and honoring of her and celebrating her life.